Hello, folks. Welcome back. Chris in Central Pennsylvania. Sometimes comments posted on videos are just so well written or explain things so clearly, so succinctly that one should address them. This comment from Tuns Bota. I live in Germany now, and I regularly have to explain to people that this is not fake news and that Trump is not a liar. This is in response to my video about like lambs to a slaughter, farm murders and rural holding murders in South Africa. He continues, after a while, it occurred to me to ask them how many murdered people they knew or knew of. I personally knew at least 13 people I had multiple conversations with. With 4 of them, I had visited the homes in which they were murdered within weeks of it happening. There are likely more cases that I don't recall since I was quite young at the time. Every single farmer we visited or had a braai with had 1 or more family members who had been murdered. It took a toll on everyone. I used to have nightmares. Some of my friends had to receive psychiatric treatment as a result of the fear. Our parents tried to shield us, but how could they hide the fact that they slept with a pistol under their pillow, or that gates resembling prison bars were locked not only in front of the main doors, but also inside the house, across hallways, and in front of bedrooms? And how could they hide that they woke up multiple times each night to walk around or call the neighbors to check that they were still alive? Sometimes a neighbor wouldn't answer the phone. Then the surrounding farmers would group together and drive out to check. In some of those cases, the worst had already happened. Eventually, after a third neighboring farmer had been murdered, my parents moved us to the garden route to try to give us a safer environment. Many people ended up leaving, some to the Cape, like us, many others to Canada, Australia, England, and New Zealand. Friends and family we never saw again. I now live in Germany to get away from this hatred because I don't want my children to grow up experiencing that. I cannot describe the strange feeling I get when people, including fellow countrymen, tell me this is fake news or that we are imagining things. It feels surreal. Tins, indeed, it does feel surreal. And the lies that are perpetrated by the media in South Africa play a strong role in the murder of South Africans. The fact that the South African government and that the media collude with the government in hiding this and diminishing it. The fact that any legitimate journalists would have spent all their time focusing on Donald Trump mistakenly calling grave markers grave sites, rather than pointing out that Ramaphosa denied that he even knew about the protest in Normandy over the brutal slaying of Glenn and Vita Rafferty. The fact that Ramaphosa lied about everything that he told Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Not one journalist in South Africa called him out. Not one journalist in South Africa pointed out when Ramaphosa said, "Have you met my white Minister of Agriculture?" Not a single journalist. That's because they're not journalists. They're activists. They're leftist activists who collude with the government to hide the truth about South Africans being butchered. Folks, it's not normal to know a person who's a victim of violent crime. That is not normal. That is not normal. Yet every South African I know knows someone who's been a victim of violent crime or themselves have been victim of violent crime multiple times, especially white South Africans. They're targeted because they're white. The presumption is they have money. But having white skin color makes them a target and therefore a victim of racial persecution. This gentleman from Germany hits the nail on the head. As a child, he knew 13 murdered people. I don't know a single murdered person in my entire life. I've lived in 16 countries, 8 in Africa. I've lived in war-torn countries, countries recovering from wars, and I don't know a single murdered person, thank goodness. Yet every South African, especially if they're white, knows somebody murdered. The world must know, and this must end.